Hello ladies, welcome, welcome, welcome to your 9:30 Zoom. We're gonna go ahead and get started right away with a little side to side tap. You know, I love it.
The next workout will begin in 60 seconds. Please proceed.
Very nice. And just a quick reminder that I do have a client right at 10 o'clock, so I will not be able to come up close and say hello to your beautiful faces. But rest assured, I send you my love, I send you my hugs, all that good stuff. Let's bring those hands up. And we're gonna go ahead and add a little jab across the body. Now you can, if you need to, keep your eyes forward by all means, especially if you're prone to dizziness. However, if you want to make a complete rotation with the body, you can just bring your eyes from side to side. Very good. Beautiful. Keeping those shoulders down, away from the ears. And those jabs are very controlled, allowing your feet to pick up as you move from side to side. We want to avoid any like twerking of the knee. So try to avoid planting your foot too firmly. Notice I pick my heel up, heel up. Good.
Begin set 1.
Beautiful. And let's do 4, 3. We're going to add a double jab on each side. So it'll be boom, 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 boom. Good. And you'll also notice that the switch between the two jabs is a little bit faster now. We're getting rid of that little bounce in between, and the switch itself is fluid and brisk. So we got 1, 2, switch 1, 2, switch 1, 2, switch 1, 2. Good. Beautiful. Get that breath going. You should feel that breath starting to come up just a little bit higher.
Stop, exercise.
Gorgeous. And we got 4. We got 3. We got 2 and 1. Very good. Let's bring our boxer shuffle from right to left. Now you notice this is low impact here. Sinking one heel and then the other, shifting your weight all the way over from side to side. Let's bring those hands up. And let's pick up that boxer shuffle just a little bit. 1, 2, 1, 2. Very good. Nice and low impact. Dropping those heels down. If you're ready, you can start to bring it high impact here. It's just a little bit of a lift and bounce. Shifting your weight from one foot to the other. But if this is not available to you, if you feel any problems in your joints, ankles, knees, hips, bring it back down to low. Good. Gorgeous. Keep that belly button in.
Stop, exercise.
Very nice. Let's bring those hands down, down into a fake jump rope. 1, 2, 1, 2. Because what is a boxing workout and warm up without a jump rope? Very nice. Nice and tall here, chest nice and open.
3.
And we're going to shift from a boxer shuffle into a low kick. It'll look like this. Step, kick, kick. Good. Now again, you'll notice I am not hopping, but I am lifting and bouncing. Using the elasticity in the ankles, knees, and hips to get that little bit of lift. Now, if that's even just a touch too much, you can bring it down, ultra low impact here. But you'll notice if we can get a little bit through the ankles and knees, that's gonna bring the heart rate up just a touch.
Stop, exercise.
Very nice. And we have 4. We have 3. We have 2. And we're gonna get rid of the hands, keep the kicks. 1, 2, and bring them up just the tiniest bit higher. Good.
Begin set 4.
So, small lean back, because I am not a rockette. I cannot get my leg all the way up here without a lean back. But the core needs to stay really nice and tight. Flexed foot, boom, boom, very good. And the knee itself, we don't want an intense whiplash, not that, okay? 1 and 2. We're going low, we're going slow, but when we pick those legs up a little bit higher, we feel that breath coming. You can hear me panting a little bit here, yes? Good. Gorgeous.
Stop, exercise.
Beautiful.
And switch to the next station.
And we're going to let this lead into our next exercise. Picking one knee up and holding. Balance. Now, when we're on one foot, very tempting to sink into a hip like this. And the spine makes a little C shape here. We don't want that. Lift ourselves out of our hips. Very good. Hold that knee up and extend. Bend and extend. Now, this can be done seated if you like, especially if your lower back is a little bit tender today. But for now, We're working on balance and squeezing the quad. You can point your toe if you like, maybe a little ballerina-esque, or a flexed foot is fine too. I'll probably feel it a little bit more with a pointed toe.
Stop, exercise.
Woo, and go ahead and shake it out. Now I realize I totally forgot to tell you what equipment we're using today. The only equipment we're using is a mat and a pair of hand weights. That's it. Optional, a very sturdy bench or chair, okay?
Begin set 2.
Good. Set 2. Knee up, toe pointed straight down, and extend. Good. Now, if your knee is a little crunchy, you don't have to extend all the way. You can do small, right? But what we want is past 90 degrees. We want to go a little bit past at least, and you can pulse it around here if you like. If you want this to be more challenging, you can either lift the leg up higher and extend, or you can hold it out and pulse it right at the top. I am going to provide one more possible progression for sets 3 and 4.
Stop, exercise.
Very nice. Let's go ahead and grab, yes, a hand weight. Aha. Now this is going to rest right on top of that thigh, okay? So, knees coming up, resting the weight, which is going to affect
Begin set 3.
your balance, also my balance. Hold that, and you'll notice I'm just resting my hand on top of the weight, only to make sure it doesn't fall off. Good. Whew, checking my posture. Hips are even, belly button is in, shoulders are back and down. Now with the weight, I'm having a really hard time keeping my knee as high as I was before. That's normal. Keep striving for it if you can. But if you find it starts to bother your lower back or your hip flexor is getting really tired, you can drop that knee a little bit and focus on the extension.
Stop, exercise.
Oh, beautiful. Man, ladies, your quads are going to be so strong after this. It's going to be like, you'll do the can-can like it's nothing, right? All right, last set. Good, nice and tall. Knee as high as is
Begin set
feasible.
4.
Belly button in and extend. Good. Beautiful. Ballet. Good, and extension. Arm out and extend. Good. Honestly, hand can be anywhere you like. It can be on your core, focusing on the spine. It can be on the hip. It can be out, front, whatever's going to help you with your balance. And at the end of this set, ladies, you're going to hang on to that same weight. You're going to find a place against the wall. Yes, we are doing double duty on the quads. We're going to go into waltzes.
Stop, exercise,
Woo.
and switch to the next station.
All right, let's come to our wall. So we're going to begin back against the wall, feet out. Hopefully y'all can see me. Can someone give me a thumbs up if I'm still visible in the screen?
Begin set 1.
All right, well, it's going to be pretty straightforward. Weight is in the heels. Knees need to be on the same plane as the toes, please. So you don't want your knees falling in, nor do you want them flaring out. And you have your weight resting on your thighs. Now sets 1 and 2, if you can, you're going to go all the way through. Now as far as your depth here, it's going to depend on what your knees can tolerate today. So a 45-degree wall sit is great.
Exercise.
A 90-degree wall sit, a little bit deeper, is great. If your knees are very healthy, I do recommend trying to get at least the bottom of your thigh parallel to the floor. Now, unfortunately, the way the screen is set up, your pictures are blocking
Begin
where I am,
set 2.
so I can't quite see. Here's set 2. Go ahead and bring that weight into your hands and lift it off of your thighs and close to your belly button. You should feel a distinct difference in how challenging that is. Should be harder. When weight is placed on the thighs, especially if it's through the hands, like if your hands are here, that makes it easier. You're giving yourself leverage. But if your quads have to hold all the weight elevated on top of your hips, that's more challenging. Let's come on up. Whoo, mama. Oh, my little quads. My sad little thighs. Just kidding. They're happy. They're so happy they're doing this. All right.
Begin set
Sets
3.
3 and 4. Same endurance, but we're gonna change up the work with the weight just a little bit. So your weight still about belly button level. You don't need to be up to your chest. Weight in the heels, you should be able to wiggle your toes a little bit. Toes are on the same plane as your knees and vice versa. Take that weight. You're going to bring it around to one pocket and then around to the other pocket. Now, this is not like a Russian twist in the sense that your torso is not twisting. It stays flat against the wall. All of that side to side movement is just coming from your hands. Even your eyes are staying stable here. But what I want you to feel is the way your legs and your core have to adapt to that weight moving through space. Start center, go slow. So me, for example, when I bring that weight over to my left pocket, I feel more weight bearing down through my left ankle and heel. Find a center, and the opposite happens when I come over to the right. Now my right leg is bearing more weight. Go slow. It's a lot of focus here. And honestly, your thighs should be like crying by the end.
Stop exercise and switch to the next station.
Fabulous. All right, ladies, let's come on down to the mat. You're gonna bring your weights close by you. We're gonna grab them after this next exercise. We are, yes indeed, going into planks. So, we're gonna begin with modified side plank. You're gonna come on over to your side. Lower knee is bent, both thighs parallel to each other. One arm is up, we're going to come up, hold, 2, 3, and then all the way back down and release. And up. Good. Now that lifting action, I want you to think about it coming from this lower oblique, squeezing as you pick your hips up and slowly lower down. Now, if this already feels a little too easy for you, like if you know that you can try harder, you can just hold it high. You don't have to do the up and down motion. Good. And if you're more advanced, here's level 3. All the way up, both feet squeezed together. I'm going to continue on this side. I'm also going to continue with the up and down motion.
Begin set 2.
Now, if you have a shoulder that feels a little bit weak today, all the way up, all the way down and rest, like I'm doing right now, is a great way to sort of introduce your shoulder to a side plank, because it's not putting consistent, intense pressure on. It's like one rep, right? Good. However, caveat, if you know your shoulder is just really not liking this, go ahead, go into your normal front plank for me.
Stop.
Very good. I'm gonna go ahead and switch on over to the other side. And if you have, one good shoulder and one bad shoulder, go ahead and try this on the good shoulder. Get that oblique. Very good. Lower knee bent. One thing I see a lot, ladies, is that knee will come forward and people try to do this as a plank. It's very challenging and awkward. We want a straight line, okay? Both thighs parallel to each other. Very good. All the way up. Drop it down and rest. Good. Think about that lower oblique. Every time you come up, it's squeezing together from here to here, and then down. And if you're like, you know what, I can progress. You can come up and hold it for a little bit longer, and then drop for a second if you need a little reprieve.
Stop exercise.
Good. Let's take a little break here. I always like to remind everybody that a progression or a modification is not a life sentence. If you need a little extra break and then reapproach the harder move, you can modify for a hot second.
Begin set 4.
If you think you can progress and doing this the whole time is just a little bit too much, you can go back to this one. Maybe even just for like 2 reps and then go back to the harder one. If we always stick to the thing that we know we can do perfectly, that won't help us make any progress. Good, very nice. Hips are perfectly stacked, core is nice and tight. Shoulders and chest very
Stop
quickly.
exercise and switch to the next
Very, very
station.
nice. All right, we're going to go ahead, grab a single weight one more time. We're gonna lie down on our back. Feet and knees are going to be all the way together, nice and tight. Weight's gonna rest right on your hips. I always like to set the weight sort of in the hip flexor right here. For me, I find that that's a nice sort of tendinous, solid place to put it without the weight digging in. I also want to make sure that I'm not lifting the weight with my hands, that I'm really just keeping my hands against it to make sure the weight does not roll toward my face. Feet are all the way together. Also, knees are all the way together. I promise you, when you pick your hips up, your knees are gonna want to spread apart. Gotta keep them squeezed. I'm gonna tilt myself a little bit so you can see here. Good. So we have two sort of areas, and see if you can go through the break, ladies. We have two sort of areas of challenge here. We have height in our hips. The weight is gonna make that a little bit more challenging. We also have the squeeze of the inner thighs to keep the kneecaps together. That is also going to be challenging.
Begin set 2.
Good, now here we're gonna add a little pulse. Now every time you pulse up, those knees are gonna wanna separate. And again, you just make sure that they don't. Don't worry, we're not doing an inner thigh squeeze for all 4 sets. Not necessarily, anyway. Good. Woo. And when you come up, I want you to pinch your booty. Come down, release the glutes just a little bit, and then you pinch your booty. These pulses do not have to be fast. Notice how slow I'm going.
Stop exercise.
Oh, nice. All right. Here is a possible progression. If your lower back is tender today, consider staying with what we've just done. However, start with the knees together, then pull one knee in. You're gonna place that one hand weight,
Begin set 3.
behind that knee. Keep the knee close, keep that calf squeezed into the thigh, arms at your sides, and one-legged bridge, weighed up with a weight right here. Good. So, doing a one-legged bridge, already difficult. Then we add an additional amount of weight stacked right on top of the hips. Also difficult. Keep that belly button pulled in tight because we want to make sure that the hips are not super twisted, right? So we're not dropping one hip like crazy. Other side. Very good. All right, ladies, I know we've just hammered a lot of lower body.
Begin set 4.
This is set 4. At the end of set 4, we're gonna go into some upper body. So just FYI, we're gonna work on some push-ups. I'm gonna show you several different versions of this involving the floor and or a sturdy bench or chair. Has to be sturdy, please. I do not want whatever surface you're gonna use to slip underneath you. In the meantime, drive your heel into the floor, get as much height as you can, but be mindful of your back.
Stop exercise and switch to the next station.
Oh, my little thighs. All right. Push-ups. We're gonna start on the floor on our hands and knees. I'm gonna be taking you through several different levels of this. Level 1.
Begin set
very first one. This is where we begin on our hands and knees as if we're going to be doing a cat and cow, and the booty is up in the air. Now, many times we don't like to teach this one, partly because the true knee push-up can be hard to get. But this one is great if you have any shoulder issues or you just really need to work on building up your strength, because when your hips are back like this, it takes a lot of your body weight on top of your thighs instead of on top of your hands.
Stop exercise.
Set 2, here is a true knee push-up. You walk the hands forward, bring the hips in line, and then you go down and up, all one piece. Especially if you have shoulder issues, try both of
Begin
these,
set 2.
because this one is still a deeply modified push-up. The knees are down, which means the only body weight you're lifting is from here up, not your whole body, right? But I I like to teach both because I'm always seeing this on ladies that I think can do this, and sometimes it can be tough to wrap your brain around the difference, so I want you to practice both. Feel the difference in your body. This one is harder, but not by a huge amount, I'm hoping.
Stop exercise.
Good, very nice. Version 3, you may have guessed when I mentioned a bench or a chair. Full push-up with your hands on said bench or chair. Now, if you know this is gonna be too much, go to one of the ones we just did on the floor, okay?
Begin set 3.
Good. Hands on bench or chair, full plank position, down and up. Making sure that we don't stick our booty up, that we are not bowing our back. Our pelvis is not the aim. We want our sternum to aim for the bench. Your body is all one solid piece here. Now the placement of the hands, keep going ladies, placement of the hands is going to look slightly different for everybody, depending on what your shoulder likes. So there's a wide placement.
Exercise.
Then there's going to be a middle placement where your arms are kind of out on a soft V. And then there's going to be a narrow placement. Now, can you notice what my elbows did on each of these? Narrow placement, my elbows are close to the body. V placement,
set 4.
my elbows are still in line. And wide placement, my elbows are wider, but they are still in line. What we do not want is froggy elbows, okay? So a lot of ladies ask me, what's the right hand placement? My answer is, there are a lot of correct hand placements as long as your elbows are in line with your shoulders. So you notice right now I have kind of a soft V. I do not want frog, okay? I want them to flow down my body.
Stop exercise and switch to the next
All right.
station.
I know that was a lot. Don't worry. We're going to go into something a little simpler next. Let's go and grab our hand weights and come on up to standing if you aren't standing already. Time for a hinge into a row. Feet directly underneath
Begin set
your
1.
hips. Not too close, not too far. Knees are soft, please. Not a deep bend, but not stick straight either. Your hips are going to go back with a neutral spine. Palms are going to face each other. Elbows come up by the waist and squeeze the shoulder blades. Couple of things that's important about a bent over row or anything like a deadlift involving a hinge like this. Number 1, the lower back. You'll notice a lot of times when we talk about planking or doing ab work, we talk a lot about tucking the tailbone.
Stop
Not the
exercise.
case with a hinge, ladies. Go ahead, drive through the heels, come up. A hinge, we want a neutral spine. So we're not hyperextending, but nor are we tucking. We want flat, 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 flat. Good, okay? Number 2, pull the belly button
Begin
in.
set 2.
A lot of ladies think that and they do this. In this case, all we want to do is hinge, set your abs like a brick wall. You're pulling the belly button in without your tailbone or spine moving and setting your muscles as if you think someone might come and punch you in the stomach. Gotta love that violent imagery. Good. Making sure, of course, I'm talking a lot about the hinge, but pulling the elbows up and squeezing your shoulder blades hard every single time.
Stop exercise.
Good. Very nice. Another thing to think about when you're doing your hinge, weight in the heels, please. I'm going to show you, here's my weight in my toes, and now I'm going to shift my weight into my heels. You see how my hips go back and that tailbone drives to the back
Begin
wall?
set 3.
That's going to make your body weight much more even, right? So you've got sort of a centered body weight. It's a lot less for the lower back to have to handle. Good. So wiggle those toes just a little bit for me. Nice. And again, we want a soft knee here. You'll notice they're fairly straight. I'm not doing like a big bend, not doing a squat. But a stick straight knee is going to make your hamstrings pull on your lower
Stop
back,
exercise.
which when we're holding that hinge for an extended period of time is not ideal. Very nice. So, last little thing when you're doing a hinge, when you come up, The butt and the hamstring are squeezing
Begin set
to
4.
pull you up. So at the end of set 4, I'm going to talk very specifically about that. Good. Elbows out, elbows are close, grazing your waist every time. Squeeze your shoulder blades. Good. And at the end of this set, ladies, we are going to come down to the mat one last time. Good, okay, we're approaching the end of set 4. I'm going to show you my butt because I'm classy. Good. Now, when she says end the set, you're going to grind your
Stop
heels
exercise and switch
into
to
the
the next
floor. You're
position.
going to try to pinch your glutes. And as you come up, your spine stays neutral, but your glutes squeeze together. You come down, your hamstrings, your glutes extend. You come up, and they pinch. Okay, so when we come out of a hinge, the glutes are taking over most of that work, not so much your lower
Begin
back.
set 1.
All right. So, set 1. We're going to talk about abs. Keep your head weights close by, but you're going to bring one or both knees to 90 degrees. You're just going to hold it. Now I'm taking a look at myself in the mirror, or rather the camera. I can see that my knees are tiny, maybe a tiny bit closer than I can handle, so I'm going to send them a little bit farther away. My lower abs are going to catch. My lower back extended, flattened out on the mat, and my belly button is pulled in.
Stop exercise.
Very good. Now we should already feel some lower ab work. You're going to grab, if you need to take a quick break with your legs, that's okay. You're going to grab a single hand weight. You're going to hold that in both hands like a chicken wing. Arms are up. We're going to go into our tricep skull
Begin
crushers
set 2.
with our abs at the same time. See, we only have one move left. Your girl likes to multitask. Good. So, tricep skull crusher. Elbows are directly on top of the shoulders at all times. And because we grabbed the weight a set late, I want you to go for some endurance work. You're going to keep going through all 3 sets if you possibly can. Your legs, by contrast, you will take little breaks there just because I don't want your back to take over
Stop
too much.
exercise.
Good. So your legs are going to come down. Let your back relax. You can even rock your knees just a tiniest little bit at a time. When I say tiny, I mean like an inch. And that's just going to release some of the tension in your lower back. Give yourself a little lower back massage. But while you're doing
Begin
that,
set 3.
your triceps are steady. Good. All right. Now, if having 2 legs up is a little bit much, first I'd like you to try pulling the knees in a touch. That's going to help you keep your lower back nice and flat. Good. Or if you really need to, you can go ahead and drop one foot. My only caution on this one is don't drive that foot into the mat. That's going to take all the work out of your abs. Why on earth would we want that? But otherwise, if you're ready for the challenge, keep those knees stacked right on top of your hips. Your lower back stays very nice and flat. Your belly button is pulled in tightly to the spine. Oh, here's a break. My legs are going to take a break, but my little arms aren't. They're just going to keep going. Because, man, you only got the 3 sets and you only got one weight. You just want to make sure
Begin set 4.
that you got little noodle arms by the end of this. All right, last set, set 4. Another quick reminder, I have a client right after you guys. So I send you all of my love during this last set. Just feel all the warmth of my hello wash over you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. As soon as your triceps are done, I'm sure it will feel like a better day, but we're still going. I did arms before this, they burn.
Stop exercise.
Woo!
Your training
Your
is
training
now
is now complete. Excellent work, ladies. Please take a moment to stretch if you can. Hydrate, get yourself some protein, and I will see you next week. Same time, same